Before beginning, it is crucial to recognize and honor that we are situated on Treaty 6 territory, lands of the Cree, Dakota, Nakota, Saulteaux, and Métis Nation.
In this project, and as future kinesiologists, we will do our part to address the TRC calls to actions, notably calls 88 through 90.
We aim to contribute to reconciliation by creating more accessible and inclusive opportunities in sport for Indigenous individuals, honoring their talents.
We know the impact of sports on youth development and physical and mental health. However, many initiatives do not address emotional and spiritual aspects. We discovered the Indigenous Sports Academy, which prioritizes the cultural, mental, emotional, spiritual, academic, and athletic development of all Indigenous athletes.
As understood through the colonial box theory, the amalgamation of discriminatory government and religious policies result in distorted understandings of the disparities lived by Indigenous peoples. In sport, this manifests as reduced access, systemic discrimination, and an underrepresentation of Indigenous athletes.
We took a strength-based approach to educate ourselves on the reclaiming of hockey by Indigenous communities. Before meeting the ISA and FSIN members, we researched their website, Facebook, TSN Breaking Barriers film, and interviews done by CTV, CBC, and Global.
We also researched the legacy of some Indigenous hockey players, notably Ethan Bear, Eugene Arcand, and Craig McCallum, and met with Professor Rope to facilitate connecting with ISA and Dylan from FSIN.
Although we didn't meet with the founder, Courage Bear, directly, we met with his wife, Carol Whitecalf, online and in person at a game. Carol is foundational to the ISA through coordinating schedules, fundraising, billeting, and cultural events. We met with Morley Watson, an ISA board member, over the course of the project to learn about the growth and development of the athletes he's seen through the program.
We had 2 meetings with Dylan Kemp, a retired hockey player and current grassroots sports program coordinator, and Aboriginal coaching modules facilitator in the FSIN. We cheered on the U17 Eagles at their game November 25th.
In 2020, Courage Bear, a hockey coach and player from Ojibwe Nation, and his long-standing friend Brad McEwen created the Indigenous Sports Academy. Courage wanted to give Indigenous youth who were the minority at existing academies a fair shake in mainstream sports.
After one inaugural season in 2021, the Eagles garnered acceptance into the Canadian Sports School Hockey League through a unanimous vote of 32 league voters. The ISA is the first and only all-Indigenous Hockey Academy accredited school.
While the ISA boasts elite hockey and workouts, unlike other programs, it holistically addresses athletes' training. As understood through the Saulteaux perspective of the medicine wheel, one's wellness is affected by the interconnectedness of spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental health.
While the ISA currently has one team, they hope to expand across age groups, genders, and sports, adding a U18 team next year.
To qualify as an athletic academy in the CSSHL, certain objectives must be fulfilled: having a rink, dressing room, workout facility, one school for all athletes, and funding. An initial barrier the ISA faced was finding a rink to house the team. Anyone who knows hockey knows there is always a shortage of ice time. Luckily, the Eagles entered an agreement with the Canlan Agri-Place.
The season schedule changes, but the Eagles often practice in the mornings before school and complete workouts at 3:30 with Ignite Athletics. As learned through our interview with Dylan, sports address health disparities between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canadians. Although a multitude of research focuses on health outcomes, there is a lack of research incorporating Indigenous knowledge, systems, and perspectives when addressing disparities. Initiatives like the ISA showcase the benefits of building a program from the ground up using Indigenous resources.
The ISA addresses distal health determinants, including the effects of residential schools, by helping athletes maximize their abilities and self-determination within sports. In these efforts, the ISA is breaking down generational cycles that have created barriers to physical health wellness for Indigenous youth.
ISA partners with SD School's Flex program, which Carol highlights, ensures athletes succeed academically while continuing in the sport they love. Morley shared that the ISA's first educational coordinator, Craig McCallum, was a Husky hockey player who now works on FSIN's executive. Nurturing guides play impactful roles in the informal and formal education of students, as seen through the raindrops on the First Nation holistic lifelong learning model.
Indigenous students historically have lower graduation rates, with only 45% completing high school in Saskatchewan compared to the 87% of non-Indigenous students. As stated by Morley, the ISA embraces education first and athletics second, confirming that if they work hard in the classroom and on ice, Indigenous youth will be successful.
Indigenous perspectives understand mental health to operate on a continuum across one's lifespan, including lifelong learning and emphasizing community shared responsibility for mental health. The ISA athletes receive weekly mental and performance training from either Dr. Leah Ferguson, Competitive Will Performance Consulting, or the Aimability Athletic webinar series.
This year, the ISA implemented an anonymous mental health check-in called Hone Athletics that provides coaches with tools to support their team's mental well-being. A major component of emotional wellness is the family we surround ourselves with. Carol and Courage, who billet many ISA athletes, designed the program to cultivate life skills and provide team bonding experiences.
As demonstrated by the Indigenous stress coping model, the use of enculturation as a buffer can satisfy ambiguous loss and promote healthy coping for Type 3 intergenerational trauma. The ISA introduces culture at all points in the program, as witnessed in the singing of the Treaty 6 song instead of O Canada at the Eagles game.
In their Orange game on September 29th, the ISA had a ceremonial puck drop featuring wild horse singers and dancing. Carol shared that despite their busy schedule, the ISA prides itself in offering activities surrounding culture and community. For example, they smudge before games or bus trips, participate in powwows, round dance, and sweats, and learn practices like drumming.
Carol shared that despite being from reserves, some players had no exposure to their own nation's culture, a lasting effect of residential schools. The ISA's work for community continuity and healing through ceremony is a testament to their impact.
Spirituality is not adhering to a specific religion, but rather the belief in the interconnectedness of a person and their relationships. The ISA maintains a strengths-based approach to spiritual wellness by incorporating mentorship programs with its athletes. Players receive instructions and guidance from elders Frank and Barb Badger, who share knowledge through teaching and personal stories about family and community-mindedness.
Morley states, partnerships with elders and mentors help athletes realize it's not just about being a good athlete or scholar, but rather being a good person, being what the world needs. The ISA athletes, in turn, act as mentors to younger hockey players. They help out with grassroots, kinsmen, jumpstart hockey leagues, as well as volunteer for initiatives like the Spirit of Our Nation's powwow, paying it forward.
The ISA plays exhibition games in Ojibwe to inspire and spend time with younger athletes. The ISA also promotes accessibility and inclusivity in its Indigenous Minor Hockey Championships from April 5th to 7th.